attention to that very important, place in the house that we think is important. Take it away. You know what I'm talking about. It's most important in that apartment, away from the kitchen. But we have someone very important in the studio. He will tell us more about sanitation, as it were. It's no other than Mr. Jude Meme. Is the sanitation officer, Delta State, Rwasa, Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, Asaba. Let's make welcome our guests. Pleasure to have you join us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Today is World Toilet Day. How does that resonate with you?
Yes, actually, like you have said earlier, today is World Toilet Day.
Yes.
It's a day that was set aside by the United Nations to create awareness when it comes to the importance of having toilets, to ensure that our feces, or what we at times call shit, is properly disposed without contaminating the person who must have done that, as well as those around the person. The reason why this is actually taking or being celebrated is that worldwide we have over 4.2 billion persons who don't have access to safe toilets where they can go and do it. And when you now localize it to our country, Nigeria, we have about 47 million persons who don't have access to wash facilities, that is water, sanitation and hygiene. So it's on this thread that we are celebrating it to sensitize people to actually understand the importance and ensure that they have good toilets which they make use of.
Okay, from your assessment, you said about 4.2 billion people actually live without access to a good toilet, and bringing it down to Nigeria, about 47 million people are exposed to open defecation. Why do you think this is so? Is it that there's no enough sensitization and advocacy for people to make sure that they have a good toilet facility?
Yeah, when we look at those who don't, because when we talk about having good toilets, we're talking about toilet that is washable. Like if we take, for example, those who have pit toilets, most times, these pit toilets may be having openings where flies can go in, come out, and infest people. You cannot say that such person has a safe means of excreta disposal. Then some too, those who are evacuating feces, perhaps they have extracted it. These ones will also take this out, and at times they are exposed to the environment. That is even why the theme for this year is even very important, because it's emphasizing having sustainable sanitation and climate change. And you can see that we are experiencing flooding and the other things that are happening around us. So if feces is not well kept and is now being transferred, it is possible that people will be infected. So as a result of that, we want to put everything into focus and ensure that that our feces are properly managed. Then another thing too is that most people don't even want to have toilets. There are some people who have buildings without toilets. Like if you take for example, the motor parks, most of the places they don't have good toilets. People prefer to go out and do the thing. So we are trying to, this year or the November 19, is to reawaken our consciousness as to the benefit and the importance of having proper feces disposal in order to contain the dangers that are associated with it. There are actually a lot of dangers for an infested feces. If you look at according to UNICEF report, a contaminated feces is having almost 10 million viruses. Then it's having 1 million bacteria in it, just a gram of it. Then what about parasites? It's about 1,000, then 100 eggs. So when you now look at all this, you find out that there is enormous contamination if a feces is infested and is not properly managed. So that is the reason why this is actually very important to us.
In fact, you actually exhausted everything, telling us bit by bit and explaining to us the essence of what TIOLET Play today and how key the theme is, talking about sanitation and climate change. Now, I'm looking at another aspect of it about this on climate change and of course our toilet facilities. Do you think our toilet facilities will stand the test of time? Because we do know that we're experiencing climate change and will continue to be so on and on according to UNESCO reports. So what do you have to say about our toilet facilities and sustainability as we experience further climate change?
Yeah, when we talk about sustainability, because one thing is ensuring that these facilities are maintained, or are properly kept in order, so that it can stand the test of time. So that also requires that we should have routine for ensuring that these toilets are kept clean, ensuring that they are disinfected, especially in public places. We want to make sure that the toilets are clean, because one thing too that discourages people from using toilet is that if they come to a place and the toilet is not looking clean, people will prefer to go elsewhere to go and defecate instead of using the toilet. So that is one thing. Then
so
we also want to make sure
there's no water.
Yes, most times. Yeah,
there's no water to flush.
That is true, but that is true most times. But if we are conscious of it, let me put it that way, we are sure that we can even make efforts to get water. The only thing is that it will require little cost. Perhaps you pay 20 naira or you pay 15 naira and you make use of it. So those are the kind of things we want to ensure, because like in public places, for example, in schools, health centers and other places, toilets are being provided, but what is lacking is proper maintenance of these things.
I'm actually looking at the sewage system, the durability of the sewage system, and you mentioned flood, you mentioned all of that, or that disaster. Now, we do know that some flood, when you talk about flood, some can be really huge, some are not so heavy. But for those that are not really heavy, you find out that with just little flood, you see the sewage system collapsing or having issues. Now, we're looking at the type of sewage system that you think you can recommend, or how we can actually make the ones we have better, so that even if there's little flood, we witness flood all the time, that we do not have hazards, issues of having the toilet collapsing, and again we do not have any spillover, to actually contaminate the environment. That's what I'm
okay at. Yes, the point you raise is very critical. Actually, we have designs for floodplain areas. What we usually do is that such toilets are built with concrete tanks. We build concrete tanks and ensure that they are fitted. But if the volume of water is really much, it will definitely overwhelm it. But what we do too is that those toilets are at least raised reasonably to a particular level, so that if it now becomes overwhelmed by the flood, that means perhaps that flood is very heavy. But fortifying it with concrete makes it safer, so that not just any kind of flood that can submerge it, but flood that is really huge, and most times it might not be like that. So those are some of the factors we are put into consideration to ensure that we have a sustained a means of removing excreta from people being disposed to the dangers associated to that.
Okay, just before we let you go, we know in some climes, for example, in Israel, when you use their convenience, they tell you don't use the toilet papers.
Pause and take traffic report quickly.
Okay.
Hello, Valerie. Valerie, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning. Quickly, what is your location? We're taking on traffic report.
Okay, I'm calling from Summit.
Summit
Road. Yes.
Okay. So what's the traffic report there?
And there's really not much traffic. It's still quite early in the morning, and there's no much traffic today.
Okay.
But other than that, the road is free, and it's clean too. Yes, the road is clean. It's
Clean road.
And I'm thankful. The Summit Road.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't know, the flyover that's here at Summit, I wonder when we'll start using it, because it's just there and the work has not been completed yet. So I'm appealing that the work at the flyover will be completed sooner than later so that we can start using it. And I know it will also help movement, to make movement a lot easier and Summit Junction safer than it already is. And another thing is, those taxi drivers that are parked like outside of the road, they just park anyhow, especially those on their buses. So I really wish that security personnel and road traffic wardens be deployed to that place to maintain law and order, make sure that everything goes on smoothly and fine.
Okay, quickly, Valerie, what is the situation as far as the use of face masks is concerned?
In fact, this office mask is a static government has scrapped it, because I don't see anybody using it. Yes, it's not funny. It's not funny. COVID-19 is still very real. And schools in New York have been closed down because of the increasing case of COVID-19 in New York. So I don't know why we Nigerians, we take it as if it's a joke. So I just really wish that Nigerians, Delta in particular, because I'm in Delta State, should adhere to the strict COVID-19 protocols and do what I know is right, save their own life. You shouldn't make them save their own life.
Okay. Thank you very much, Valerie. You're signed off quickly.
Okay, my name is Lillian Enweruba, reporting live for Delta TV. I'm currently at Summit Junction, and the road is clean and the road is free. There's no form of traffic going in this part of Asaba. And I wish everybody a good morning and a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Valerie.
Okay, we're back. Just before we go, as the world celebrates the World Toilet Day, I was saying that in a place like Israel, for example, their facility, they don't allow you to use the toilet roll and dump it inside the water when you're through. So how can toilets help fight climate change? Because, like I said, they recycle the water. I don't know.
Yes. Let me actually do a write out to that. What they're trying to say is, they don't use tissue paper. They have another bucket or another container where you put your tissue, because they just want the liquid. They see that the waste is very good. The waste is very good because they use that. They recycle that for agriculture. They use it on their farms and all that. So they recycle that. So they don't want tissue paper there. They just want the feces. And then with time, you see that their crops are always very good. The fruits are good. They recycle and they send. Because it's more like it's connected. The public, the sewage system is actually connected. So they have a way of sending it back, and then they recycle and put it for agriculture. So that's what my colleague is trying to say.
Yes, that is.
We don't have that.
We don't have that here. We don't have that here.
That is advanced. Like that.
Yes, in such places, these things are collected and recycled, just like what she said, and then put back either for fertilizer. Even in some places they separate and still recycle the water that is being taken by the people. So these are some of the things, but we are yet to get to that point. We are even concerned with trying to ensure that at our own level here, we're able to contain the indiscriminate disposal of feces. Imagine someone that is walking on the street in Asaba and you are smelling shit, for example. It doesn't really sound well. So if we're able to overcome this level, we'll advance to that level. These are plans that will be on ground, and I know too that the government is also thinking towards that direction.
But they say that there's a Yoruba palace that said, that is the money from shit does not smell.
That is true. No, shit is shit is a good business. It's something that people actually look down on.
Yes.
That's why we don't discriminate. Anybody who is doing something towards promoting environmental sanitation, we actually applaud the person, because it's a very wide area that a lot of people can tap resources from. So whatever you are doing to ensure that the environment is safe, we don't bother about that, because it's not just something you come and say, you are taking my schedule and things like that. This no more. And you know, one thing about sanitation is that because of the nature, like now if I have sensitized you now, nobody might see what I have done to you, but the effect will be felt so many years or so many weeks ahead. Okay. You understand? So that is just it.
So how will you speak to public drainage system in Nigeria, and for those who violate, they tend to connect their own private toilets, their own toilets to public drainage system? Do they have penalty for that? What's the position really in Nigeria?
Well,
do we have that?
Yes. Well, at times I hear people say that people connect their sewage system to the, but that I think is actually a very bad act. One is that we don't even have treatment plants in most places.
So we don't have.
So if you are now draining your waste to, perhaps it goes to the river and all that, you're also endangering other people. So if anybody is doing that, we want to let such people stop that practice, because if it goes into the river, it's contaminating the river, and people down there are fetching the water.
All right, we appreciate you this morning for sensitizing us, and of course the public out there watching on World TIOLET Day. We have a bit of tiny features that we'll take on right after this moment. We've been having Mr. Jude Meme, Sanitation Officer, Rwasa, Delta State, educating us further. Now, very quickly, your take home. What will you tell the people out there as they observe World Sanitation Day?
Yeah, what I want to tell every one of us, especially Deltans, is that we want to ensure that we dispose our feces properly, ensure that flies don't touch them. If we're even using the pit toilet, for example, we can put vents and ensure that we have cover lid that does not allow flies to have any. So then those who carry out the soaking away of septic tanks, they should ensure too that whatever they have soaked out are properly disposed, so that they don't endanger the lives of other Deltans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, it's my pleasure. Please.
We appreciate you. We'll take another spot. We'll be back shortly. It's Morning Ride.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okoa government they improve agriculture.
We don't put the fishes inside rubber.
More na carry and put for inside the pickup now.